In life, we will meet resistance, which can leave us feeling worn down and worn out. But we can find a reason to keep going. Show up, push through, and never give up.
So like I said last week, Rin talked about the word resilience, and I have that definition up here for you, and it's this. Resilience is our ability to find a reason to keep moving forward and to grow stronger after we have struggled, failed, or face hard stuff in life. You see, I think that we all have the ability to do that, to show the resilience, even when the good stuff, the mess stuff, the bad stuff, and even too, just when we are just, like I said, we're just okay. And so I think that we have the ability to have resilience throughout the course of our life. And when I think about this word, of course, you guys, some of y'all know this, some of y'all don't know this, but I coach over at Concordia University, okay? So I work with the women's basketball team. And so it's been my joy to be around those athletes for the past 3.5 years. Bless you. Bless you. It's been a joy of mine to be around those athletes, be around those people for the past 3 years, now going to be 4 years. You see, they have to show resilience every day. And I'm going to tell you a story about one of those athletes in a little bit. But I want to continue with this. I want to ask you guys a question. And it's going to be this. I want you guys just to kind of think about this, and we're going to go with this. Here's the first question. What are some words you have heard used to describe God? What was that? I'm trying to see, what is that? That is Macy, yes. Is that holy? All right. What do we have right here? Faithful. What else? Powerful. What else? Trustworthy. Trustworthy. What else? Anybody back there? I can't see y'all back there. Who is that? Go for it. All-knowing. What else? What are some words that you have heard used to describe God? Anything else? We've got one in the back. Sit. Okay. Kind, faithful. Yeah, right? Kat says the mitochondria. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So, with that being said, we have those words. So let me ask you this. Have you ever seen or known God to be the way we just described, that you guys just described, those words? Have you ever seen him to be able to do that? Okay. All right, you want to share real quick? No? Macy? Yeah. Jesus' presence. So with that, right? So with that, you felt something. You felt him moving. You felt him doing something on your behalf, right? Right? And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we ease into this. So I want to tell you that story. So remember I told you guys earlier, I'm going to tell you guys, talk about one of my players for Concordia. So there's this athlete. Her name's Maddie Maxwell. She's super awesome. The season before this one, she ended up having a breakout season. It was amazing. She was scoring 19 points a game. She was doing well. I mean, that's really good, just so you know. She was scoring 19 points a game, and I had to tell her I'm going to brag about her because she's an amazing person. But she had 19 points a game, was doing well. She was headed to do some great things this season. She ended up coming into this season being on the All-ASC watch list, right? So that pretty much saying that she had the chance to be named an All-American, right, for D3 basketball, which is a huge thing, a huge accolade to have. So I said she was on that track for that. Well, about 4 to 5 games into the season, Maddie went up for a shot, and a girl closed out late on her. And she ended up getting a grade 3 high ankle sprain, and she tore a lot of ligaments, and she was down. I tell you this story because there's a whole lot of things that happen with Maddie. One, Maddie her identity has been basketball since she was little. All right, she's 21. So her whole identity has been in basketball. And that's where she has found who she is, where she belongs, everything. So you can only imagine when something terrible happens, right? And let's be real, we've had terrible things happen to us. You can only imagine that the first thing that we think about is, oh crud, I'm never going to be able to do this again. Right? Right? I mean, that becomes probably the first thing, or also too, the next thing is like, I'm never going to be where I was. Right? And then we just start to, as you start to do the PT or you start to kind of recoup or come back to things, you have that whole mental game that now starts to happen, right? That's the whole part of this. And so Maddie ended up dealing and facing with all of that. I mean, the first week she came up to me and she said, look, man, I'm just going to be real honest with you, coach. Like, you have always been there for me, but I'm done. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to play basketball again. Like, they told me it's terrible. I'm never going to be able to play basketball again. And I asked her, I said, are you sure about that? Like, are you okay with that? I said, because I feel it's kind of rash. Like, you just had this happen last week and now you're making this decision that you're done, you're over with everything, you're not going to move forward. And she's just like, I have so many things that are going on, so much that I'm struggling with that I can't really honestly feel like I'm going to be able to give back to this as much as it's given to me. And so I asked a question, because this is who I am. I asked this question. I said, so where are you at, though, with Jesus? Because this is who I am, right? I'm going to ask that question. Like, where are you at with Jesus? What's going on, right? And if for y'all that went on retreat with me and Ren, you know that that's like one of the first questions that I ask, like, hey, where are you at with Jesus? Like, let's talk. Let's have a great conversation, because I think he's wanting to show up and do some amazing things on your behalf, but we'll go down that route. And she was just like, look, I'm going to be real honest with you. Like, my faith has struggled for 2 years. I've never once, like basketball, I've just been going through the motion because this is who I am. I'm a basketball player. I was like, interesting. Okay. So I'm going to come back to Maddie. But one of the things that Maddie has, and again, I told her I'm going to brag about her. She is probably one of the most resilient people I have ever met in my life. She is full on a coach's kid. So if you all have been around a coach's kid, they're a different breed of people. Same like military brats and preacher kids. Like, they're a different breed of people. That's just what it is, okay? We take what it is. I am doubly jacked up because I am a military brat and a preacher's kid. So good times, all right? But one of the things that I heard that, Ren. One of the things that when I think about this word resilience, right, bringing all these things back, because again, Maddie is somebody who has that resiliency, like she shows it all the time. But when I think about resilience, as we talk about that, if we're being real honest here, resilience is a byproduct of faith, right? It's hard to be resilient, right? If we go back to that definition, which is our ability to find a reason to keep moving forward and grow stronger, and after we have struggled, failed, or faced hard stuff in our life. It's hard for us to be resilient if we don't have faith, because the thing is, faith is us trusting in something, right? Faith is you trusting in God. Faith is you trusting in Jesus. But here's the thing, you can't be resilient with whatever other thing that if you don't believe in it, right? You guys with me with that? Right? And so that's why I say that resilience is a byproduct of our faith, right? So if our faith is lacking, well, let's be real honest. We're not going to be that resilient when we come to facing things. Let's just be real honest there. You see, one of my favorite quotes when it comes to talking about faith comes from a man that I wish I grew up in the time that he was alive. I wish I was able to hear his words. You know, I get to hear the audio recordings of it, but I wish I could be there in person, to be at all the different rallies and all the different things where he talked and he spoke about this. But this quote says this. It says, faith is taking the next step without seeing the rest of the stairwell. Right? Dr. Martin Luther King. And so when I come back and I think about faith, I'm like, man, like, okay, that is what it is, truly. Like, I'm going to take, maybe it's a baby step, but I'm going to take that baby step, right? I'm going to take this step where, you know, God might be calling me to do something super uncomfortable. God might be calling me to go and close a door, and he may be opening a door. But you know what? I got to trust him. And I have to be willing to walk through that door. And sometimes that is scary. But the thing is, God has told us that he is never going to leave or forsake us, or that he is ever going to cause us harm, that he wants to give us a future and a hope. that he wants to prosper us. Like, God has told us these things. And the thing is that I think about this and I recall this and I find myself at this place when it comes to thinking about going and trusting in him. I think about how I am here now, today, in front of you all. You see, Ren knows right when he got hired here, I reached out to him. I'm going to be real honest with you all. At my last place, I was unhappy, and it was affecting me. I was not in a great place when it came to going and being around students and being around people. I'll tell you, I love being around students. I just was unhappy with all the things that were happening around me. And so I struggled with that because I'm like, man, I am probably one of the most, I won't say bubbly. That's a stretch. That's a whole nother, I'm not there. That's over here. I'm like right here. I'm in between like brooding and bubbly, right? So that's where I'm at, right? So I'm like right there. Meet me in the middle there, okay? So you guys can think of that describing word, and we'll go with that. But there we go. That's the word, all right? So, but I find myself like in that place, and so I love being around people, but my interactions were not great. I was not happy. I was unhappy. And the thing is that every year I ask Jesus, and I ask him, look, is this the year that you need for me to go and be somewhere else? Has my time come to an end here? Are you opening a door? And he never really answered that question. And so I struggled a little bit with that. But the thing was what God was doing was that he was going and closing doors around me so I could be in the place that I needed to be at, which is here in front of you all, which is here part of this ministry with Ren, which is here showing up to volleyball games, which is here going on crazy spring retreats, which is giving nicknames like finger toes, like all of those things, right? Like that's sus bucket, all those things. Like here, like this is where I'm supposed to be because this is where God wants me to be. But here's the thing. I had to put my faith in him that he was putting me in the place that I needed to be at the most. And it was not at my old church. It was here. This is where he was putting me at. You see, the thing is, with our faith and resilience being the byproduct of our faith, what we have to understand and what we have to know is that what comes into play is us going and building up a resilient faith, right? And a resilient faith is one that never gives up on God because it knows God is still working, right? We go back to our definition of resilience. That's our ability to find a reason to keep moving forward and grow stronger after we have struggled, failed, or faced hard stuff in our life. A resilient faith is one that never gives up on God. Never gives up on God. Why do you think that is? Why do you think a resilient faith never gives up on God? Because that person knows that God is working, maybe not in front of you, right immediately right in front of you, like he's doing something right there, but maybe he's doing something along the parameters, right? He's doing something that is like right on the edge of all the things that you can probably see, and he is working there, going and saying, look, you know what, I'm going to shut this door, I'm going to shut this door. Hey, you know what, I'm going to keep this one open. You need to go through that one, girl. Please go through that one, right? Like he is probably doing those things. But we only want to see the immediate result, but we have to trust that God is doing something bigger than what is in the immediate. We have to trust that. He's looking long-term, right? He's looking eternal. Like that's what he is doing. He's not thinking, okay, in the next 5 seconds, bam, all right, finger toes, normal toes, right? Like it's not like he's not thinking that. I'm sorry, Kat. but he's not thinking that. He is saying, look, I am working here, I'm working way out where you may not see, but I am showing up. You see, I had this conversation with Maddie. Because again, she was struggling with the fact that she felt that he was not showing up. Of course, why would he do this? Why would this happen? Why would all these things be in this place for me? And I told her, I said, look, I don't know. I don't know why this happened. But you know what? You now have a great opportunity to step up to be a great teammate now from the bench. You're the most vocal person, so let them still hear your voice, still call things out, but still be present. But know that in all of this that is going on, God is still on the move, God is still working, and he's going to do something magnificent through you. You may not see it now because you want to see the immediate change. You want to be able to get up, walk, and be healed. I get that. But this is the journey now. This is the trial. So are you going to work through it, or are you going to quit? Because that's the thing that we have a lot of today, is that people, like, once the thing gets really, really tough, we just quit, we give up, right? I say that from the sense of, we have the whole transfer portal thing, which is a whole thing. But we have, athletes that if they don't, play like the first 2 weeks, they're like, I'm out of here. And it's like, bro, it's a process. Like, you're just coming in, like, you are like green to understanding how things work in college. So you gotta let these things process. And so one of the things that I told her is that, again, it's easy for you to quit. Pain is temporary, while quitting is forever. Pain is temporary, while quitting is forever. Again, I'm a coach, right? So you're going to have the coach-isms that come out here. But I want you to know this truth, that God never gives up on us. God never gives up on us, right? Even though we quit, even though we give up, He's like, look, bro, I am still here. I am still working. I am not giving up on you. There's nothing that you can do to get away from me. Like, I am after you. It's kind of crazy. But he's like, I love you that much that I'm going to go to where you are at before you even get there. But I am working on you. I am working for you. I am not giving up on you. And I want you guys to hear that. You may be at some crazy place right now within your own faith, within your own journey with the Lord. But I want you to know this, that God did not give up on you because you are valuable. You're so valuable that He gave up His Son for you. Which means, in a sense, right there, that you are so worthy. You are worthy. And I don't care what the rest of the world, I want you to hear this. I want you to lock eyes with me real quick, okay? I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't care what other people tell you, that you're not good enough, that you will never equate to something because you have this sibling or that or whatever the case may be. You are worthy because you are so wonderfully made. And I want you to hear that. God crafted you to be who you are. Wild, crazy, fun, sensitive, whatever. He crafted you to be those things. And you are so worthy of that. And I want you to know that, because that's the whole thing of all of this, of that when things go bad, right, or when people quit on us or whatever the case may be, God never gives up on you. So I'm going to ask you to never give up on God.